We have so much to talk about today that I'm not even going to waste any time with an intro. I guess the only thing that I'll say is hello, my name is Fuzzy. If this is your first time on the channel, we do this every single day. We are on the road to 300,000 subscribers, so if you have not subbed just yet, I would really appreciate you doing that today. But we have beef between Jose Canseco and Curt Schilling. We have beef between Curt Schilling and the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame, and then also baseball fans against the Hall of Fame and the writers themselves. And then on top of that, so many players have signed with a brand new team, so buckle in. Today is going to be a bumpy ride, but I'm excited. Anytime that I get to talk about baseball in multiple different aspects, I'm hyped. So let's go ahead and start off with the breaking news. This happened about 5 minutes ago at the time of this recording. The Yankees have swindled everyone. They just signed Darren O'Day to a one-year contract worth $2.5 million. That's it. How did they do this? They turned Adam Ottavino. So he was going to get paid about $9 million in 2021. They traded him to the Red Sox, and then they pretty much picked up the same exact version of Adam Ottavino and Darren O'Day, because if we take a look at O'Day's stats, since 2015, he has a 3.29 FIP. He had a 1.1 ERA in 2020, and for his career in 374 innings pitched, he has about a 10 strikeout per 9 and a 2.51 combined ERA. The fact that they traded Adam Ottavino and the Red Sox picked up almost all of his salary and then signed Darren O'Day for $2.5 million, that is an absolute... You have to put some respect on the Yankees, because 2 weeks ago they had an F offseason, but then all of a sudden they turned on the burners and they showed the rest of the league that they are here and they're not going anywhere anytime soon. The Yankees absolutely mean business. If they can get one more pitcher while staying underneath the luxury tax, maybe a Trevor Rosenthal, oh my gosh, that bullpen is going to be disgusting, and they won't have to pay anything in luxury tax. So honestly, hats off to the Yankees organization. Although I will say, Yankees fans, still try to work on being nicer people, because y'all been wilding on Twitter lately. But I guess that's too much to ask for. Moving on over to the San Francisco Giants. They just picked up a really good lefty bat in Tommy La Stella. I'm pretty sure that he's going to be playing second base. For whatever reason, my brain wanted to think that it was 2014 and that Joe Panik was playing second base, so I thought that they were going to have a logjam. But I'm pretty sure that Joe Panik hasn't been on the Giants in quite some time. So to me, I like this move because he fits perfectly in that ballpark. I think it's called Oracle Park nowadays. I still like AT&T. I want to call it that, but you know what? I'll be respectful. I'll call it what it really is. Oracle Park. The fact that they have Brandon Belt breaking out, Mike Yastrzemski, Tommy La Stella. Hopefully Buster Posey can bounce back and have a good season if the baseball gods are nice enough. Joey Bart, in my opinion, is going to be a pretty solid addition. That's why I was hoping that the DH was going to come to the National League so that Buster Posey could DH and Joey Bart could be a full-time catcher. But unfortunately, baseball hates itself and they rejected the universal DH. So Tommy La Stella to the Giants. He is going to love right field and hitting baseballs into McCovey Cove. He is an excellent addition and a much-needed upgrade at second base. Moving on over to the American League, the Minnesota Twins, they picked up J.A. Happ a couple days ago, and they were not done just yet. They signed Andrelton Simmons. This all but confirms that Didi Gregorius is going to go back to the Phillies, because it was either going to be Simmons as a Philadelphia Philly or Didi Gregorius going to get re-signed. So I fully expect Didi to be in Philadelphia in 2021, but Simmons gets $10.5 million. Their defense is going to be insane. The fact that you have Simmons playing shortstop, you have Jorge Polanco at second base, who in my opinion is an above average defender, and then Byron Buxton, quite possibly the best center fielder in all of baseball. If you hit anything up the middle, you might not get a base hit. Now, I do not believe that the Twins are the team to beat in the AL Central. I still think that the White Sox are leaps ahead of everyone else in that division, because when you acquire Lance Lynn and Yasmani Grandal and all of the players that they've acquired in the last two off seasons, it's going to be tough to beat, especially when you have a young player in Luis Robert. They call him Louis Bob. They're going to be tough for a long time. Eloy Jimenez is 23, 24 years old, and you also have Yohan Moncada, Tim Anderson. The White Sox are scary, but the Twins are trying their best to keep up. The last free agent signing that I want to talk about, this was a big boy contract. Marcus Semien gets paid fat stacks. He got $18 million on a one-year deal with the Toronto Blue Jays. So the Blue Jays are writing checks and they are not saying sorry about it. Now, I will say they did have to overpay for George Springer and Marcus Semien, but you know what? They are going for it all in 2021. They think that they can keep up with the Padres, the Dodgers, the Yankees, every other team that's gotten better, the White Sox. right now, you do have to consider the Blue Jays a top contender to win the World Series, even though their rotation is not as good as the other teams that we've talked about. Their lineup and their bullpen is going to be really good. I feel so bad for A's fans. I mean, right now, you've lost Josh Donaldson to the Blue Jays. Now, I know he went to the Braves and then the Twins, but that's already something that really stabbed you in the heart from a Blue Jays perspective. How could you trade Josh Donaldson to another team and then he wins MVP? Now you lose Liam Hendricks. I know that he is not on the Blue Jays, but still, Marcus Semien hurts just as much. He's a homegrown player, and if you're a Rays fan, if you're an Indians fan, if you're an A's fan, it sucks so much. Or if you're a Pirates fan, I do not want to discount the misery that the Pirates franchise and the fan base, I won't even say franchise, the fan base, because the franchise is doing it to the fan base, the absolute misery that we've all been through because we can't afford our homegrown superstar players. So Toronto has stolen Josh Donaldson. They have now stolen Marcus Semien. The White Sox stole Liam Hendricks. It is just not a good time to be an Oakland A's fan or an Indians fan. For any of the other teams that I mentioned, it's just, you know what? There should be a clause or a rule where all of the kind of small market teams that aren't really supported by their cheapskate owners, they should be allowed to join forces and create a super team. God, I wish. I mean, it's so awful being a fan of these franchises because the owners, they should just be embarrassed. They're okay. Last but not least, let's go ahead and talk about the Baseball Hall of Fame and the fact that absolutely no one, nada, nunca, none, no one was elected in this. But like, what are we doing? The Baseball Hall of Fame has turned into a comedy show. I fully expect Netflix to reach out to the Baseball Hall of Fame and offer them a mega contract to start up a comedy show because that's exactly what it's become. Now, it all started with Jose Canseco tweeting out that Curt Schilling would be a disgrace to the Hall of Fame. Curt Schilling, obviously, we know that he's very vocal on Twitter and social media. He came back and said that Jose Canseco was already a disgrace and that there's no way that he would be a bigger disgrace to the Hall of Fame than Jose Canseco was to the game of baseball. And he kind of has a point because Jose Canseco was the father, the godfather of steroids, and he introduced a lot of people to the whole cheating scandal. A-Rod, Mark McGwire, Pudge Rodriguez, these are all alleged, by the way. I do not want to throw out these allegations and get sued. I mean, it could very well happen. I'm not trying to, is it libel or slander? I don't really know. Again, I'm not trying to get sued. But we're not done just yet. Curt Schilling was so upset about not being elected into the Hall of Fame. He pretty much said, hey, I'm done. He has one more year of eligibility and he does not even want that. So pretty much what he's doing is, you can't fire me because I quit. Because for the most part, Curt Schilling has been so awful off the field. He's been such a bad person to a lot of people that they just won't vote for him, which is a little bit hypocritical because this is a baseball museum, not a museum for the best people and the best humans of all time. Again, we've already mentioned that there are some racist and some very not so nice people in the Hall of Fame already. So what exactly is it? Is it a baseball museum? Is it a character clause museum? We have to really figure this out because it is becoming a circus. It's becoming a clown show. And I just don't really know what the writers are doing because they're not voting for Barry Bonds in 2021. How do you vote for him 20 years ago in the MVP race, but then all of a sudden that same writer does not want to vote him into the Hall of Fame, even though they saved baseball and the writers made so much money off the press that came with Barry Bonds and the home run race between Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa. So just a bunch of hypocrites. Bud Selig, again, he was the commissioner of baseball during the steroid era. He turned a blind eye so he could grow the game and save baseball and allow himself to make even more money. He's in the Hall of Fame, but Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens are being held out. It just doesn't make sense to me. I understand why people do not want Bonds and Clemens into the Hall of Fame because they cheated, but to me, when you have Selig in the Hall of Fame and all of the writers who voted for Clemens to win Cy Young or Bonds to win MVP, all of a sudden, now they've made all their money and they've gotten all of their notoriety. They want to flip the script on those same players and not vote them into the Hall of Fame. It just doesn't make sense. That's my perspective. So Curt Schilling is angry. No one was voted into the Hall of Fame, even though Todd Helton's on the ballot, Scott Rowland, Andrew Jones. Any one of the three players that I just mentioned, none of them were suspected of doing steroids, and you can make an argument that they should be in the Hall of Fame, but unfortunately, we're not going to have any this year. So it really sucks to say. Today has been wild. The Yankees are swindling everyone. We have beef between Jose Canseco and Curt Schilling, and then, yeah, gosh, just wild. And I wanted to one more time say, I am so sorry, Oakland A's fans. You have been absolutely robbed of having a really good team and just being able to support your players because they don't stick around for long. I empathize with you. It really sucks. But thank you all so much for watching. Stay safe out there. And remember to subscribe because we're on the road to 300K. Peace out. Also, I'm going to be posting a Jose Altuve video on More Fuzzy. Check it out.